Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Myself Sandhya, I am from SVC. Before getting to the topic, I request everyone to like, share and subscribe my channel. In today's session, we are going to discuss about the web technology and its application. Let us have a look on the table creation and a form creation. The contents: structure of table, table cells, table rows, table headers, spanning of rows and columns, table styling, and creation of forms. HTML tables. Table element is used to create a table in HTML and can be used to represent information that exists in two-dimensional form. Table can be used to display calendars, financial data, pricing tables, and many other types of data. Basic structure of data. The table contains any number of row tag tr. Each row contains any number of table data cells, column td. Some browsers do not display borders by default. Many tables will contain some type of heading in the first row. In HTML, you can indicate header data by using the tag th element. Browsers will automatically make the content within the th. And this is the example for the structure of the tables. Table and the tr, company, contact, country, and it is end with tr. And next, Alfred, Farkas and Maria, as you can see the example. And next, what is table cells? Each table cells is defined by the tag td and it is end with the /td tag. Td stands for the table data. Everything between td and /td are content of the table cells. Note, a table cell can contain all sort of HTML elements, text, images, lists, link and other tables, etc. And table row. Each table row starts with the tag tr and ends with the /tr tag, and tr stands for the table row, and this is the example for the table row. You can have as many as rows as you like in the table. Just make sure that the number of cells are the same in each row. And note, there are there are times when a row can have less or more than cells another. You will learn about them next chapter. And let us have a look on the table header. Sometimes you want your cells to be table header cells. In those cases, use tag th instead of the tag td, and th stands for the table header, and this is the example for the table header. By default, the text tag th elements are bold and centered, but you can change that with CSS. The additional table elements are: the tag caption element is used to provide a brief title or description of the table, which improves the accessibility of the table. Caption side CSS property can be used to change the position of the caption below the table. The tag, the tfoot and tbody elements are used for the table header, table footer and table body. The tag call and tag call group elements are mainly used for styling all columns within tag call group with just a single style. Unfortunately, the only property you can set via these two elements are borders, backgrounds, width, visibility, and only if they are not overridden in a tag td, th and tr elements. And the spanning rows and columns. To make a cell span over multiple rows, use the span row attribute, and this is the example. HTML table call span. To make a cell span over multiple columns, use a call span attribute, and this is the example for the table call span. Table styling. Table borders. HTML tables can have borders for different styles and shapes. How to add a border? When you add a border to a table, you also add borders around each table cell. To add a border, use the CSS border property on the table th and td elements. And this is the example HTML table sizes. HTML tables can have different sizes for each column, row and entire table. Use these style attributes with the width and height properties to specify the size of the table, row or column. And this is the example, that is set the width of the table to 100%. And HTML table width, to set the width of the table, add the stable attribute to the tag table element. And this is the example. HTML table zebra stripes. If you add a background color on every other table row, you will get a nice zebra stripes effect. To style every other table row element, use the colon, nth, child, even selector like this. And this is the example, program of the table zebra stripes. Hoverable table. Use the colon hover selector on the tier to highlight the table rows and the mouse over. And this is the example for the hoverable table. HTML forms. An HTML form is used to collect user input. The user input is the most often sent to a server for processing, and this is the program for the HTML forms. And the form tag form element. The HTML tag form element is used to create an HTML form for user input, tag form and form elements, and ends with /form. Form elements is a container for different types of input elements such as text fields, checkboxes, radio buttons, submit buttons, etc. And the input elements are: the HTML input tag elements is the most used form element. An input tag element can be displayed in many ways depending on the type attributes, and this is the type and the description. If the input type is a text, and it displays a single line text input field. If the input type is a radio, displays a radio button for selecting one of many choices. If the input type is a checkbox, and displays a checkbox for selecting zero or many choices. If the input is submit, and displays a submit button. If the input type is button, and display the clickable button. Next, text fields. The input tag input type, if it is a text, defines a single line input field for the text input. And this is the program for the text field, which is doc type HTML and HTML body header to text input fields and closed with h2. And this is a form, and it's a text field example. Next, the label tag element. Notice the use of the label tag element in the example above. The label tag defines a label for many form elements. The label tag elements is useful for screen reader users because the screen reader will read out loud the label when the user focuses on the input element. The label element also helps users who have difficulty clicking on very small regions such as radio buttons or checkboxes, because when the user clicks the text within the label tag, it toggles the radio button or checkbox. The for attribute of the label tag should be equal to the td attribute of the input tag to bind them together. And the radio button, if the input type is a radio, the input type is equals to radio if the tag defines to a radio button, and the radio button let a user select one of the limited number. And this is the program for the radio. Next, checkboxes. The input type is equals to checkboxes, and it defines a checkbox. The checkboxes let a user select 0 or more options of the limited number of choices. And this is the example and program of the checkboxes. Next, the submit button. The input type is equals to submit that defines a button for submitting the form data to form handler. The form handler is typically a file on the server with a script for processing input data. The info in the form handler is specified in the form's action attribute, and this is the program for the submit button. Next, the name attribute for input. Notice that each input field must have a name attribute to be submitted. If the name attribute is omitted, the value of the input field will not be sent at all. And this is the program. For the name attributes in input.